Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media.
Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us to the Flathead National Forest in northwest Montana. Glacier National Park abuts the forest, as it is only 8 miles away as the crow flies. Just 2 miles north of the town of Columbia Falls, the national forest blankets mountains that reach 3,000 feet in elevation. The rolling hills are deceptive, as they seem peaceful and safe, and are crowded with ponderosa and lodgepole pine, Douglas fir, western larch, and quaking aspen. The berries here are a very important source of food for local wildlife and include huckleberry, thimbleberry, chokecherry, and gooseberry. The North Fork Road heads north toward Glacier and is immediately enveloped by forest, bushes, and relative wilderness. Hanging west on Cedar Creek Road brings the woods even closer and the help and safety of civilization farther away. This kind of country brings a peaceful feeling to visitors, as the harmony of nature blossoms all around them. But this illusion lulls many visitors into a disarming state of mind, one that can put them in a dangerous position with one of its most dangerous denizens. On Thursday, July 18, 2024, a 72-year-old man, whom we will refer to as Mike, was heading out of Columbia Falls to gather huckleberries. He wasn't packing bear spray, but was packing his sidearm, as sources indicate. The specifics of his sidearm aren't yet available, but given he was a Montanan, it's fairly safe to assume that he packed something bigger than a .40 caliber, and likely loaded with hard-cast bullets. If you're not a berry picker, a little background on berry picking culture is needed to understand today's episode. There are several ground rules or suggestions to being a good berry picker, and they generally center around courtesy. Most pickers use a bucket to collect their goodies in, as they meander the slopes, oblivious to anything but where the next juicy berry is located. Visually sorting through the unripe berries from the ripe ones can be done at a glance, but that glance takes your attention and focus. One of the best tips on proper berry picking instructs pickers to get off the road and leave some for the next visitor. Crowding the shoulder of the road nearby favored berry patches is frowned upon, and hogging all the berries is rude, especially to black bears and grizzly bears. Huckleberries make up about half of the diet for hundreds of grizzly bears residing around Glacier, and hoarding their food can lead to catastrophic circumstances. As Mike meandered the meadows and trod the trails, he slowly filled his berry basket with the small purple prizes. He was by himself and enjoyed the peace of being surrounded by nature's beauty and bounty. As Mike blissfully made his way through the berry patch, he silently made his way along a trajectory that would lead him into a perilous predicament. As he carefully selected his huckleberries, his picking was interrupted by the sudden appearance of a big brown blur from his peripheral vision. Before he could draw his sidearm, the angry sow grizzly knocked Mike to the ground, slashing and biting him furiously. Somehow he had the wherewithal to pull out his pistol and fire into the grizzly an unspecified amount of times, but not before she could impart serious injuries to him. After Mike's pistol helped her change her mind, the sow turned and searched for her cubs before departing. As soon as she disappeared, Mike gathered his senses and worked his way back to his feet. The damage she inflicted on his body was painful, and blood seeped from puncture wounds and gashes as he slowly made his way back toward the vehicle. I could find no source indicating how Mike made it to medical help, but the report of his attack set off a frenzy of investigators and media members. After listening to his account and examining evidence at the attack site, investigators chalked up the attack to the sow protecting herself and her cubs from a perceived threat. Her carcass was observed and recovered at the attack site. Game cameras were set out to see if her cubs could be located and to check in on their welfare. Authorities mulled over the possibility of finding sanctuaries that could accept the bears, or if they may be old enough to live independently of their sole protector and provider. Dylan Chabish, a spokesman for the Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks, issued a puzzling statement following the attack. He stated that the cubs may be left alone because they may have a better chance of survival than if they were euthanized. They may have a better chance of survival than if they were euthanized. The act of euthanization would ensure the cubs have zero chance of survival, but that fact seemed to be missed by the authorities. It wasn't long before the 3 orphaned cubs were observed on the game cameras. At the current time, there's been no statement regarding plans to capture the cubs or euthanize them. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Tier membership on Patreon, linked below, will give you ad-free early access to our episodes, and the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce content like this. Authorities concluded with a statement regarding that the bears are active in the forests and around mountain towns. Mindfulness and the usual instructions about staying in groups, being noisy, and maintaining bear awareness may help forest visitors avoid confrontations with hungry or protected bears. Meanwhile, a few hours to the south, in the town of Gardner, a sow grizzly has been caught raiding cabins and seeking food sources near human population centers. The sow had no record of hostility toward people, but was deemed a problem bear due to her comfort and familiarity with human habitations. She was euthanized in an attempt to eliminate any potential for conflict with human beings. In recent sources, grizzly bears have been noted to exist in Montana, Alaska, Wyoming, and Idaho, and a surprise addition to this list is the state of Washington. Recent grizzly reintroduction efforts there are slated to reintroduce the bears to the North Cascade Mountains northeast of Seattle. An estimated 2,000 grizzly bears live in the corridor between Yellowstone National Park and the Canadian-U.S. border, and numbers have increased very rapidly in recent decades, with an absence of hunting seasons for population management. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. Do you think grizzly reintroduction in Washington state will lead to more grizzly bear and human conflicts? What could Mike have done to avoid this bear attack? Would bear spray have yielded a better outcome than Mike's pistol produced? The next time you're picking berries, will you leave a few for the bears? I think I'll stick to the store-bought berries, just in case. I'll gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so please post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it.
Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.